Triple M, a platform where people can share money amongst each other and where people living in poverty can rise up and get out and break through and really belong to the middle class? Or is it a pyramid scheme where the people who are putting money into it are going to lose out eventually? We are joined by consumer journalist Maya Fisher-French from City Press to talk a little bit about why we should be concerned about Triple M. Maya, welcome. And what is it about Triple M that scares you?
I think the problem with Triple M is that all of these kind of schemes, and we'll go into why, yes, it is a pyramid scheme and why it is a pyramid scheme, is that all pyramid schemes have an ending. And unfortunately, it's often the poorest of the poor who are caught out at the end of that, who've put money in, and suddenly the scheme collapses and they don't get their money back out. So I think that is really concerning to me. Is obviously there are people who've been early adopters, who they're the people on the Facebook, they're the people on Twitch, on social media saying, but it's working, I've made money. But somewhere along the line, it all peters out, it folds, and it takes a lot of money with it.
It's very interesting seeing the strategy that goes into the social media side of Triple M. People sharing their testimonials of success, of how it's really changed their lives. And here we are saying that people shouldn't be partaking in it, that it's dangerous. How do these things work? Because people are saying, no, it's not a scam, it's working. And stop trying to break something that's really helping poor people.
You know, and I think that's the very function of a pyramid scheme, as I said, is a lot around the fact that people initially are making money. And then when it collapses, they blame the media, they blame the regulators, they blame all sorts of people, instead of understanding that by its very nature, it implodes. So let's maybe deal with that exact idea of the pyramid scheme and why the marketing is so important. Because one of the things with Triple M, I follow, there are so many of these out there, but Triple M has been particularly successful. If I think of Defense X or Wealth Hub, or there's quite a few of them out at the moment. But Triple M has been, I think, particularly successful because of that marketing. So going out there and feeding the pyramid. So, you know, if you think of a pyramid structure, it is the top, the only way the top can get money is if you're continuously growing the base. And it is that volume of growth that keeps the money flowing up the pyramid. But eventually you get to a point where that the growth required is exponential and it now outgrows itself. There's just not enough people to come into the system, or people prepared to enter the system, to keep the structure alive, and that's when it collapses. So the more marketing you can get going, the more people you can get involved, the longer the scheme will last. The problem is that the scheme, the longer it lasts, the more money it's taking in and the more South Africans it's affecting. You know, in Russia, I think it lasted about, was it about almost 10 years or so before it imploded. It's just imploded in China now. We're talking about a population of 1 billion people, and eventually it comes to an end. So I think that's really, you need to understand, yes, Triple M has delivered to people who are early adopters. It's been incredibly clever at its marketing skills, but it will come to an end and there will be tears.
What about people who have very little? Surely they've got nothing to lose.
Well, they've got a lot to lose. They've got less. They're putting in money that they can ill afford to lose in the first place. And I wouldn't even be surprised if those people that are putting money in have borrowed that money. So they've gone to the micro lenders to borrow this money and then put it in, because remember, they're offering even a higher return than they're paying on the interest in micro lenders, which already to me would be a warning sign. I mean, if the micro lenders are charging you this amount of money to lend you money, who do you think's giving you that kind of interest in this scheme? You've got to realize that there's a disconnect, but possibly a lot of people have already borrowed money to enter into the scheme, and that's going to even compound the problem.